In today's video, I want to show you how I block my IP cameras from communicating to the internet while still maintaining access to them when I'm away from home. There's been a lot of attention on security cameras sending information to cloud services or accessing the internet at all. Most recently, it was the Eufy cameras which sent data over to a cloud server. However, most security cameras have been sending or accessing services that we don't know about, and they've been doing it for years. In addition, most IP cameras are not supported or maintained very well and are potentially insecure in general. If you want to know more about how I lock down my cameras, then watch the rest of this video. I've been using IP cameras such as the Reolink or Amcrest for years. About 3 years ago, I had a major issue with Reolink and how they implemented security in their system, which prompted me to start switching over to Amcrest. Though much better, they still always wanted to phone home despite it being a local camera only. So for a while now, I've blocked all my IP cameras from internet access. There are many ways to do this based on your firewall that you're using, but the concept is basically the same. To set the stage, let's look at a recent log from my firewall. As you can see from the logs, all my cameras, including the Amcrest cameras, as well as the Eufy cameras, are attempting to access unknown IP addresses without my knowledge or consent. With the exception of the Eufy cameras, which does make you create an account when you first set them up, the Amcrest cameras were never given any type of permission, nor was I asked to provide a permission. I'm sure that most of this traffic is pretty harmless. However, I prefer not to have any, as I never connected these to the internet for any reason. And yet with no accounts, they're still trying to connect to something. Not trying to bang on Amcrest in any way, shape, or form, as I think they're one of the better companies. Other companies like Reolink, which sets the bar for one of the worst companies when it comes to security. But the bottom line is they all do it, despite what they say, and it's really up to us to block it if we're uncomfortable with it. Fortunately, to resolve this is pretty easy. I implemented a firewall rule a couple different firewalls ago that blocks all my IP cameras from accessing the internet, and in my opinion, they shouldn't be communicating anyway. Originally done in my Sophos firewall, untangled before that, I now do this in the Unauthorized UDM Pro. The process is basically the same. We're going to add all the cameras to a group and use the group to create a rule to block from accessing the internet. To be clear, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do this, including putting all of your cameras and your NVR on a VLAN and blocking the entire VLAN from accessing the internet. This is a slightly better approach if you want to add more devices later. It makes the whole thing a lot more flexible, but it requires managed switches and knowledge of how to properly set up VLANs. I'll do a future video on this using VLAN, but for now, we'll go through this using group, which is a little simpler to understand and more available to different people and different firewalls. Let's start with an overview of how this works, then break it down into the different steps. If we look at the rough diagram I drew, we could see that all the cameras which have their own IP address are kind of wrapped up in a group, represented here by the red box. In our firewall, we have blocked that group from accessing the internet, but they are allowed to communicate internally on the LAN. In addition, the NVR, which in my case is Blue Iris, has the remote access disabled, but under this configuration allows the cameras and the NVR to communicate freely with one another as long as it's on the LAN. To clarify, the Blue Iris remote access features are disabled, not the PC it's running on. So the PC can still communicate to the internet, stay updated, and operate like a normal PC, including the port for Tailscale, which we'll talk about more a little later on. Again, we'll be just showing one way of doing this, but in the first step of the process is to assign all of your IP cameras a static address. This is really important to make sure things stay the way that you want them. Once this is done, we need to group them so that we can call this out in the rule. Depending on your firewall, you may not be able to group things, in which case you'll have to list the IP addresses individually. But if you can, then I would want to use a group as it makes it easier in creating and changing the rule in the future should you want to add or delete some cameras. Next is to create the rule itself that blocks these cameras from accessing the internet. This will be done differently, again, based on your firewall, but I'll show you how I did it using my Unauthorized Pro SE. If you look at the list of IP groups, I created a group called IP cameras. Looking at the group list itself, it's simply just a list of individual IPs in one group. This makes it easier to add and delete cameras without changing the firewall or changing the group. So the firewall will remain the same, calling out the group, and all I'm doing is adding and deleting cameras underneath as things changed in my network. Your firewall may not be able to create groups, but if you can, it just makes it a little bit easier, but it's not a showstopper. The rule itself is pretty simple. It's actually a straight internet out rule that drops all outgoing traffic from the source, which in our case is the IP cameras that we created, to all external destinations. That's pretty much that simple. You're basically blocking the group from communicating externally at all. They're only allowed internal LAN communications. Now that we've seen how to block external traffic, we're now faced with how do we get outside access to work so we can easily check our cameras and see what's going on at home or in our business. There are a bunch of ways of doing this, with the best ways using some kind of VPN. In this video, I'll cover what I think is the easiest and safest way of accessing your cameras from outside with very little effort, depending on, of course, the configuration you're running. In my opinion, using Tailscale is one of the easiest ways to seamlessly connect your NVR to your cameras, to your app, to your laptop, all while being encrypted without having these cameras connect outside in any way, shape, or form. The reason I use it's because it's always available. It uses a fixed IP and doesn't require a ton of configuration, and you don't have to remember to turn things on and off. There are too many configurations and variations to go over each possibility, but if there's enough interest in the comments, I can do a specific video on that particular topic. Earlier on, I did a separate video on setting up and configuring Tailscale, so for this video, I'm going to assume that you'll either look at that video in advance and set it up, or you already have it running. There are two options here. The first is you're running your cameras on a PC solution such as Blue Iris or iSpy, or you're running on a NAS unit. If you're in that camp, then it's a simple matter of installing Tailscale on the PC or the NAS. Tailscale installs are available for most NAS units. You just have to look at them. Sometimes they're side-loaded. Looking at my Blue Iris screen, you can see that I've installed Tailscale, and we look at the Tailscale IP address. That's the one we're going to be using in the mobile app to set it up. Moving over to the mobile app for Blue Iris, we can see that there are two settings we need to configure. The land IP for when you're local and the WAN IP address for when you're on the road. You need to insert whatever local IP address you use in Tailscale into the WAN address. To do this, or to test this out, after I configure this, I can check the camera connection both on and off the Wi-Fi to see that it works fluently and invisibly to me, no matter where I am. And by the way, I've tested this in other countries and it works fine. I didn't have any switch anything or have any access issues at all, without having to worry about configurations as well as knowing everything is locked up and encrypted. There are a couple downsides of blocking internet access from your IP cameras, but for me, the pros outweigh the downsides. For starters, most cameras will lose their ability to connect to a time server, so you'll have to use the timestamp on your NVR, your computer, or your NAS, and disable the individual camera's time server. Alternatively, you can create a second firewall rule that allows the time server to pass through. I just never bothered with that. The second is the firmware update, which is typically doesn't really work very well anyway on most IP cameras. So you can still download the firmware manually and install them in the cameras, which is pretty much what we were doing most of the time before. There's a couple exceptions to that depending on the camera. And again, based on infrequent updates, this shouldn't be a showstopper either. In summary, the solution may not work for everybody, and maybe you want to use a different VPN solution, which will work. But in the end, I would recommend that you do something that blocks unwanted access from devices inside your house and start taking control of your network. There's a whole bunch of different ways of doing things, and this is just one of them. You have to find out what really works for you. In closing, once you have this setup running, you might find that there are other devices in your network that you may also want to block. So you can easily add them to the group and use the same rule. If you found this video useful, then consider subscribing and give it a like as it helps promote the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.